Yes, in fact, we do podcasts. It is real true. It is dropped kickoff time once again. I'm Nick Wasiliev, and it's just me and the other co-founder, the OG. It's the OG setup. It's Mr. Hartman joining me here. We're back for the first time in a little while, Nick. It feels like, 30th of April. That's the last time we did like an episode, one of these episodes. But how are you feeling? What's been happening? What's been going on?
Yeah, I don't know what has been happening. I can't can't like, it's hard, I can't really recall anything that's been happening. But yeah, not much, mate. Not much.
I'm going to throw you under the bus immediately because now we are recording. I did notice that the moment that the Brumbies beat the Waratahs, all of the enthusiasm to record podcasts went very quiet, very, very quickly.
Oh, look, mate, correlation does not equal causation.
It's the best. Do you know what that feels like? Like whenever I hear correlation, feel causation, it feels like Homer Simpson running into the freaking church, going sanctuary, thinking he can get away with it. But it's. I mean,
look, it's a philosophical maxim, Nick. I wouldn't say it's sanctuary.
What would you say?
Just leave it at that.
Well, regardless, I mean, quite a bit's happened. It's been last time we did a podcast, apart from our little collab episode that we did with the Talking Teams guys, where I chatted with Egg Chasers about the Lions squad. If you haven't, go check it out. Thank you all the folks for all the love you've been giving it. That episode's been doing quite well. There's been a lot of Super Rugby. It feels like, the Tars are technically still a chance of making finals. Force are done. It feels like the last month that kind of both those sides have kind of struggled to get a win. Brumbies are at least guaranteed to finish a third. They've done all right. And then the Reds are currently, if they win this weekend, they're guaranteed to finish a fourth. First of all, are we happy? Because I know there was a period there for a lot of the season where it seemed like all four teams are going to get in. How do we feel about this last
When did it seem like all four teams were going to get in? All right, this is one thing. I've got a couple of rants lined up, even though, look, I've been dormant for 2 weeks. But one thing is, right, I said ages ago, at the start of the season, the Force are a better team than the Tars. I got laughed at, especially when the Tars took them apart. And they're going to play this weekend. So let's see. The real proof in the pudding. But the Tars are never going to get in the finals. And there's all this finals chat. Oh, the Tars can't get in the finals. They've been shit all year. They've had 3 really good games. One which hilariously came against the Brumbies. But they've just been shit. And I don't want my team in the finals. Just get in the finals. I want my team to play well.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing well. But Reds and Brumbies always up there. But we get to them soon. I guess my question to you is, how happy are you that the Brums are on top?
I think I'm pretty happy. They've been playing pretty well, but I wouldn't say they're firing on all cylinders right now. They're sitting at the top of the ladder at the time of us recording. But they do have the 1 game advantage over the Chiefs and the Crusaders. And I think realistically, the match next week where they play the Crusaders in Canberra is effectively going to be a shootout for who finishes in second or first, pending Chiefs playing Moana. But am I happy with the Brumbies? They've been playing all right. There have been some better results in there, but there've also been some results that they haven't been playing very well. So it's kind of a bit of maybe it's just a symptom of this season. Maybe that's kind of what it is, because it has. One of the positives of the whole season is that it feels like anyone can beat anyone, and maybe it's the case that people have been beating other people, so those losses kind of stick out a little bit more. When you're kind of used to a team playing okay, like the Brumbies going down to the Hurricanes in Canberra, which I was like, they played like shit. Which I still think that they did play like shit, but also credit to the Hurricanes, they're coming home with a wet sail right now. I think it's I do agree with your point about the Tars. I didn't think they were going to make finals either. I just said just do better than last year. That is how low we're starting right now, in my opinion. Start at that level and then everything else will be like if you can clear that, get those first couple of wins, everything will be fine. I would say that they have exceeded my expectations. The Tars a little bit, like that win over the Chiefs was really, really good. Thought they played really, really well. And they've played pretty well at home. Give them credit where credit's due, but God, this last month has been shocking. Like they've either run out of juice, they're like knackered. They're kind of whatever's going on behind the scenes doesn't seem to be working because they don't have that many folks injured. Yes, they've got Suaalii out and they've got Max Jorgensen out, but I mean by comparison, the Reds have got 13 players out, the Force have got 10 out, the Brumbies have got I think 8 or 9 out.
Well, I mean, you say they're injured, but look, they haven't had a hooker for most of the season.
True.
Well, the first two. Don't be too rude.
Like Violani wasn't very. Yeah, Violani going out wasn't very good.
Him and Pericki were out.
Yeah.
It's funny you say exceeded your expectations better than last year. I mean, I really think. Did you watch the Europa League final this morning?
No, I didn't, but I did see. The Spurs get up.
Yeah, so I watched the last half an hour of that, and it was fucking dog shit. So for the people who don't know, Tottenham and Manchester United came 16th and 17th out of a 20-team league, and the bottom three get relegated. And they're playing the Europa League final, which is like the second level Euro competition. And they played the final. Tottenham won. Spoiler alert. And Ange, Australian coach, former Socceroos coach, won a title. Anyway, you can look into that. But it was a fucking dog shit game. Like, awful. Fucking awful. And when I look at this Waratahs team, I just, after last year, they're slightly less shit. Like, for the people who are in that team, and they're talking, the culture here is not good enough. It's just shocking. Like, it's like I guess how most people in Sydney feel about the rail union at the moment. It's just so, what the fuck? You're on a golden, almost got the golden goose, a silver goose, bronze goose, zinc goose, whatever's fourth. But I've just been really fucking disappointed in them. They played their hearts out. They had really fucking good games, and the rest was shit. So look, that's kind of my feeling on it. They're never going to make the finals. They played finals level footy in 2 games, Chiefs and Brumbies games at home, but like that's it. I mean, remember the Hurricanes game?
Yeah, it was bad. Even the Moana game and the Drua game, like in the last few weeks, it felt like they were really off the pace. Either they were absolutely knackered and out on their feet, or just like they didn't have faith in the system.
But then you got not hitting line outs. You got Tane coming on and not kicking the ball out. Like, it's just like, fuck, I can't do that. I can't do either of those things. I'm not a professional athlete, but you just it's just funny. I just got to remind myself of that stuff. Someone criticized the Mikey Mark try at work today. And I'm like, fuck no.
What? Someone said it wasn't good.
No, it was just like, it wasn't try of the millennium.
That person must have
like, that's your last thing you're clinging on to. Let's not try the millennium. Try the year, but not, try the
whoever that person is, I feel sorry for you. It's a really stupid argument to lie on. Like, Jesus.
No, it was just something they said. Anyway, look, fucking shit house. Really disappointing.
Look, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, do you think the Tars, because if the Tars lose this weekend in Perth, their season is done.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to lose first and foremost? Do you reckon?
Yeah.
The end of the road will be, because I mean, Force are already out.
Like, speaking about dipping off, the Force are kind of dipped off. So,
mate,
if that dip is still dipping, then I mean, look, the Waratahs might sneak a chance in of beating them. Is it top 8?
Top 6. Top 6.
All right.
So they're basically, God, I had to rack my brain. I did an article. I did an article about like what the final permutations are. So what I really should have brought it up when I was, professional
No.
podcast right here. But
hang on. So the Waratahs can beat the Force. They're on 22 points. So if they beat the Force and then
they basically need to win all their games. They need to win all their games and at least get one more bonus point.
Whereas Hurricanes, Moana, and Blues, who are above them, just have to win one of their remaining games. So Hurricanes have got the Reds in Brisbane.
Yes.
And Moana at home. Moana got Chiefs away and Hurricanes away. And Blues have got a bye, and then the Waratahs at home.
Yeah. So really, if you're a Blues fan, so the Tars basically have to win games, and then they have to hope that a bunch of other results go their way. That's kind of the situation where it's in. Which, in my head, as much as those possibilities are likely, for me, that's like if you're starting to rely on other teams' results to get you over the line, you're basically 1 foot out the door.
It has happened. It has happened.
Look, stranger things have happened, and how many times have I ended up with egg on my face doing this podcast when something's come out? But many times. It's true.
Anyway, I love to talk about the Tars, even though they're the shittest Australian team. But we can talk about your Brums if you want to talk about them a bit more.
Let's talk about
let's talk about the top of the table. Brums on top, right? And they've played one more game, so they got the bye this weekend.
Got the bye this weekend. They got a 2-point advantage, but Chiefs and Satyrs have played. They've got the same number of wins as the Brums do right now, but they've got one less game. So both of those two teams have to play. How I think it's going to play out.
So hang on, let's just go through. Hang on, before we go there. So the Chiefs got Moana at home, then Highlanders away. Highlanders bottom of the table. Moana up and coming. Maybe we can talk about them if we want. Crusaders playing Highlanders. Dead last, like I just said, at home. And then the Crusaders got the Brums. So you mentioned that before. They play Brums and Crusaders big. I mean, you could see Moana beating the Chefs at home.
Yeah, I can see that happening. That's the game I'm most interested about. If there's any game where I think the Chiefs are going to slip up, it would be against Moana. I think Moana are playing really, really well. They're the good feel-good story of the year. Let's call it how it is. They're the team of the year.
Disagree. I don't feel good about them.
I mean,
I feel good about Artie
as an underdog. They're the feel-good underdog team of the year. Come on, tell me they've got crowds there now. They've got people watching them. They're doing really, really well. They've won. I think they've won more games. They've won more games this season than they have in their entire history, the rest of their entire history combined.
Yeah, well, they've only been around for 3 years. Look, I hate their guts. Yeah. I hate their guts. I hate their stupid name, which just means Pacific Ocean. I hate how they're an islander team in quotation marks. They're run by the NZRU, and the NZRU just cunts off them. I hate their stupid jersey. They chose blue and white. I guess it's the ocean, but they're already every other team is blue and white.
It's true. That is the
just choose something else. Any other white, maybe just do white, like the clouds of the ocean, right? I don't know, they just stink, and they've been carried by Artie. Just not a fan. Hate them.
Come on! Don't be like. Honest to God, they've got some good players in there that have kind of risen off the back of Artie though.
I'd like
Miracle Valani is really good. Lamola.
I'd like them if they played, if it was more of a Pacific Islander team and they didn't just play in the home games in Auckland.
Look, I reckon
they played in Brisbane and they played, Western Sydney, the Chiefs' future home. You know what I mean?
I reckon they do better going out to. I mean, of course it's easier said than done, but they have taken a couple of games out to Tonga and Samoa. I reckon they should play more games out there, to be honest.
Oh, but man, they bleed cash out there.
Yeah, look, it's a tough one right now. But I mean, in my head, if they're gonna if you want more teams representing the Pacific, you should play more games out there. But look, I mean, they've started doing that in the last couple of years, so you'd hope that they just start to do more of it. But nah, I'm sorry, man. Hard disagree. Like, I reckon I'm loving them. I'm loving Moana Pacifica. I think they're playing really, really well. They feel like they've turned a corner. There's kind of a culture element that's being brought in there, and look, I'm just curious. I do get your point about it being a team that you're kind of worried that a bunch of the New Zealand will use those players, and instead of going to Tonga and Samoa, they'll be selected for New Zealand. I mean, I think it's too early. Like, they haven't really. A lot of those players previously have already been selected for Samoa and Tonga, so it's kind of like you've got to wait at least 3 years before they're eligible to play for New Zealand.
Levy Omua.
Yeah, what about him?
Now? Well, he's playing for the Crusaders now, and I think he's capped by the ABs. And that centre, Tana Nabai, who plays for the Highlanders.
Tabanawa, yeah.
Yeah, same deal.
Yeah. I mean,
not a fan.
What I reckon is...
Can we talk about Australian teams?
I mean,
I always want to talk about the Kiwis, you see.
I'm not a simpy trash panda. I'm just talking about how...
trash panda. We don't even have trash pandas in Australia. Bin chickens. Yeah,
bin chickens. All right, you bin chickened...
Yeah, there we go. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I accept that insult.
Let's go back to the Brumbies because...
Yeah, big Brums.
Big Brums. Because I reckon... Because that's kind of where we started before we got sidetracked by all the fixtures. Here's what I reckon is going to happen. I reckon I think the Brumbies, I think that the match between the Brumbies and the Crusaders in Canberra will determine who finishes second and third, because the Chiefs have actually named a full strength squad for Moana Pacifica. They've named they haven't made any changes to the side that actually beat the Crusaders in Canterbury. So I reckon they're going, look, we actually need to. Let's treat this, because they are a finals contender, Moana Pacifica. They're sitting in 6th at the moment, so they're saying we're going to treat you as such, and hopefully that means that they'll hope that their strongest squad can pull off a win, and then if they do that, they'll likely go to Dunedin and hope, okay, well, we can maybe rest a couple of players before finals begin, knock off the Highlanders, and then if they win those 2 games. The Chiefs have an unassailable lead. They'll finish in first as a result, which means that the Brumbies and the Crusaders, even if the Crusaders pump the Highlanders, which let's be honest is probably going to happen because the Highlanders are really out of juice right now. I reckon it'll turn into a match. Whoever basically wins in Canberra will finish in second, and whoever loses finishes third. That's basically how the top 3 is going to look. So it's really just. The only matches that I think matter are, this weekend with Chiefs and Moana Pacifica, and then next weekend Brumbies and Crusaders, because that'll really determine who the top 3 looks like. But do I think the Brumbies can beat the Crusaders in Canberra? Yeah, I do. I think they're playing quite well. And
that's
also the fact that I reckon that game against the Force, where they pumped the Force, even with freaking Noel Lolosio nearly doing his back out, which was... just looked bloody awful, and it's good that he seems to be on the comeback, and he's running now and stuff like that, so he might be working his way back up to full contact, which is really, really positive. Yeah. And they played against the Reds last week without a backup specialist 10, and then the 10 had to go in to get an HIA. So for a period of time, they had no specialist 10 on the field against the Queensland Reds, and they still won 24-14. And I don't think they played well that game either.
Who played 10?
Declan Meredith. So he's kind of...
No. Who after he got taken off, who came in?
Muirhead. Andy Muirhead. So
that's random. That's great.
But Bernie basically said that they have a couple of guys who have actually played fly half naturally already in the squad, and they train them as such. So Andy Muirhead is one. And funnily enough, Ryan Lonergan, the scrum half, it also has been trained as a halves... as a fly half as well. And he's played fly half a couple of times too. So I'm like, oh, that's fucking handy to have. That's handy because they play. It
I'm always really interested in the contingency plans for that kind of shit.
Oh, isn't it interesting? Yeah,
Yeah.
seeing what you come up with when it's again like the whole thing with the All Blacks and how they're like, they feel like they're even more dangerous when they lose a player to the bin or whatever because they've probably practiced those contingency plans 100 times. It's kind of similar now with who slots into what position when somebody goes off, and what does it look like?
Look, see, because I would think you put Tom Wright there
at 10.
Yeah, because I think fly halves and fullbacks. I feel you have to have the space. I guess you don't have to have the passing, but the kind of tactical awareness and the kicking at least.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. I think Wright, in my head, I'm just like, Wright probably is better served with that open space and wing in the back and everything like that. So they probably just keep him there and just then someone else like that comes in. But long and the short of it, I mean, the only real thing that I'm worried about with the Brumbies right now is I feel like, they have had a lot of inconsistent performances. I mean, that loss to the Force and loss to the Canes and
loss to the Waratahs.
I mean, the loss to the Waratahs, I can give a little bit because the Waratahs didn't play that bad. Like, sometimes you can just accept the fact that, you're coming up against a team who played a really good game of rugby.
The Canes one was shit.
The Canes one wasn't good. Yeah. So, like, those
that's
couple of...
That's like, a championship team would win that one.
Yeah. Like, the lapses is the thing.
Yeah, like, you can forgive losing away in a derby, but...
Yeah.
Just at home against someone like the Canes. Good team. Yeah.
I reckon they've kind of overcome that a bit in the last fortnight or so because that Force game was a really solid performance. The result against the Waratahs, I mean, I was a very happy boy, to put it simply. And then, the Queensland Reds straight afterwards. What was the end score? What was the end score, Hartman? I want you to say it. I want you to say what
I don't know. I was away.
How was the win streak of one?
Yeah, it was good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, 40-17. But that Reds game, I was like,
17.
I said 40-17. 40-17.
14-17. What are you talking about?
You're drunk. Go home, you freaking bin chicken Mike, big chicken Mike Nolan scumbag poo-faced dickhead. But yeah, I reckon Brumbies I reckon they will finish second because I back them to be able to beat the Crusaders away from in Canberra because they play really well.
It's all very important to get in the top two because that means home semi. So
home semi potential home semi.
The what do they call it? Not the quarterfinals, but what the
qualifying finals.
Qualifying. That will be 3 versus 6.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 3 versus 6. And then what happens is the two lowest. So they've got the situation where the two lowest ranked teams that lose get knocked out, and the highest ranked loser actually makes it through to the semis. So.
Well, no, it just means if you win the game, you go to the semis.
Yeah, but remember because there's
the highest ranked person will play who comes number 2, and the lowest ranked winner will play number 1.
But wouldn't it be if say for example if the second place team loses, like they lose at home. Like the team that comes second loses at home, they'd still go through on semis because they're the highest ranked loser. That's what would happen.
No, but it's 6, right? So with like when it comes semifinals, quarterfinals, you always go like 2 in the final, 4 in semifinal, 8 teams in quarterfinal, 16 and 16, whatever. What do you call that? Forget that. That's how you can't if you have 6, you have 6 teams. 2 go straight to the semifinals, and then the 3 to 6 play 2 games. You can't divide it any further.
I don't know I don't think they're doing it that way. I think it's the 2 because you've got semis straight afterwards. But anyway, point still stands that
I'm looking this up. Anyway, yeah, go on.
The
And
Brumbies
if you
will,
talk about the Reds, actually, let's talk about the Reds. Queenslanders are hankering to learn what's going on.
yeah, it's disappointing that we haven't got our resident Queenslanders all here to throw their support there because, I mean, the Reds have been a bit hot and cold, to be honest. Like,
Oh,
I think
you're fucking right. Sorry.
that,
Qualifying finals 1v6, 2v5, 3v4.
yeah, that's correct. So
With
it's
three, so semi-finals, 3 qualifying winners plus the highest
mhm,
ranked loser. That is
correct.
stupid. That is stupid.
Oh, we'll see how we go. I mean, the NRL, I'm pretty sure, does something relatively similar, don't they? Or they used to. I know I'm
No,
pretty sure
because they
that
have 8. They have 8. This is what I'm saying before. So if they have 8, so they can fuck around
I
with
know
it.
they expanded it recently, like it was top something or other. But anyway, I digress. Like the Reds have been so because like I reckon after that Blues game, because there was a after because they had the loss to the Brumbies in round 9, which was I reckon probably one of their worst performances of the season. They then after the bye, they had that really good win against the Blues, and then went to Fiji and lost by
Yeah,
3 points after the final
yeah,
siren. Which I mean, I don't think they played a good game there, but I reckon they should have won it.
yeah. They
Still,
should have.
they should have won that one. They beat the Waratahs in Sydney.
Yeah.
They,
Ooh.
and then they kind of put out a pretty mixed performance against the Brumbies in Canberra.
Mm.
Like, are they firing on all cylinders?
No.
No, but I think the probable reason is because they've got 13 players injured, 11 of whom were starting Wallabies or are starting Wallabies. So they're not like, even though they've still got like, and this gives you a sense of how cooked this red side is. They've still got like 8 or 9 Wallabies in their starting side, regardless. It's insane to me that like they're clearly not haven't got the strongest possible team they could have at the moment. I'm a bit worried about this game against the Hurricanes this weekend, to be honest, because the Hurricanes are playing really well. Like they're really on fire.
Yeah, yeah. I think. Sorry. So just before we start talking about another New Zealand team, you Kiwi simp. Um, I I'd be really disappointed if I was a Reds fan because this is a really good team, and I guess maybe the Reds, the QRU have got the Reds into such good position. Like you talk about injuries, but it's kind of hard to spot them because they have such good depth right now. Like
Yeah,
the
they
Tars
do.
have signed Angus Blythe. Also, the reports go. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed. Um, but if
Yeah,
they
it's
lost
confirmed.
him, So if they lost him, for example, they're not gonna miss him just because they have the depth.
Mm.
And they've done a really fucking good job. But they're just not kicking on. They're not looking like they're gonna win this comp. They look very good, but they don't look like they're gonna win this comp. And it's actually funny, talk about the Brumbies and the Reds, and we mentioned this before when Les Kiss got announced as a new Wobbs coach in 18 months. What's Stephen Larkham thinking? His team's beat the Reds. And you look at the Brumbies and Reds on paper. I mean, you got to say the Reds got the better team, right? It's just
Yeah, in terms of depth, I would say they would. I mean, how many Rebels players did they get? They got so many.
oh
And
yeah, oh here we go. They got a couple. But I mean, like it's just
not as many as the Tars, but they got a couple.
no. But they've got a great spine in that team. Maybe less superstars than the Brums, but like it's just they really. I think Paul Cully said they got 16 Wallabies or something. I don't know that team. Like they've really got to kick
They've
on,
got
and I'd just be really
18.
disappointed.
18.
18. Yeah. So look,
Yeah.
crazy, and they really should be kicking on and dominating. And it's just, hopefully they do beat the Hurricanes. Saying that as a Tars fan. But I do want to see them play well. Because I'm thinking, look, if the Reds won Super, that would be amazing, and I think that'd be better
Yes.
for the game in Australia than the Brumbies winning it. Let's say if they're in a final.
Uh, yeah. I mean, like, I think any Australian side winning it would be good, but I see your point.
Any would be good. I'm not saying it wouldn't be good. I wouldn't be saying I'd rather the
It's like
Winds
a, it's like a quote
Reds win
unquote
it.
like it's a quote unquote heartland kind of win. You mean kind of like
Well, yeah, and then people are like, oh, Queensland, you know, it'd be great, be just great press for the country. But it's just so disappointing. So hopefully they get up. They've got this weird structure. If we look at the matches they've got the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes are 5th, so it's 4v5.
I reckon this match probably pretty much decides who finishes in 4th, in my opinion. Because if the Reds win, they basically take an unassailable lead in 4th, and they can't catch anyone in 3rd.
Yeah, because they're 9 points behind the Crusaders, who are 3rd.
Yeah, so they basically will finish in. They'll basically finish in 4th. Like they'll lock in their top 4 position, which isn't bad. Like that's a good thing.
That's not bad. And then they play the Fijians at home, who've been shocking away from home. So that should be you could probably pencil that in as a win.
Touch wood. I mean, the record inevitably says that the records are made to be broken, so you never know.
Yeah, but the Drew have been pretty shit away from home, haven't they?
Oh, there's something missing at the Draw. Maybe it's just the transition to a new coach. You know, maybe I know they had a real close connection.
Weather babies.
They're just. I think
they're hide behind the humidity.
No, it's Mick Byrne. I reckon it's kind of Glenn Jackson's still getting used to being, you know, the coach. They've got that new system and structure in place. I reckon it's a transitional year. If they do it, if they're coming like bottom of the ladder this time next year, then I'm worried. If you're a Draw fan, because you know it's all your first year is always kind of a bit of a hit and miss. I mean that's why I was like Darren Coleman was kind of an exception at the Tars when he had his first year, and that was their best year by far. You know, sometimes you fire.
I kind of disagree. I think new coach. Best is always the first kind of thing, or second.
Yeah, second or third, I think it should be the best one. But anyway, yeah, look, I reckon
said first anyway.
If we're realistic about where the Reds should be, they should be a top 2 side. I'm sorry, they really should be. They should be up there with the Chiefs.
But look, they're competing against the Chiefs, Crusaders, and Brumbies. Like,
yes.
But look, they need to beat the Hurricanes.
4th would be fine. Finishing in 4th, locking if based on the talent they have, the support they have, the systems they have, and the fact that they've got a pretty good coach and a pretty good team, they should finish in 4th. They should lock that down. So if they lose this weekend against the Canes, then I'm like, oh fuck, because they could still theoretically actually miss out on finals. I mean, it's not necessarily likely, but they could potentially do that.
All right, okay. Let's do the preview section now, Nick. I'm just going to do some math. So, excuse me, I was just finding a pen.
We need to talk 4th, bruh.
Yeah. So, let's go.
I did an article. On this. Do you want me to tell you it?
What
all the dynamics looks like. Let me get it up.
Okay.
Hang on a sec. Right. Finals. Let's do it. All right. So the teams that can currently still make finals. So the 2 teams that are out of contention, we'll kind of start from the top and just go down. The only 2 teams that are guaranteed out are the Western Force and the Fijian Drua, because they're more than a bonus point behind 6th place. They need more than a bonus point win behind, and they've only got 1 game left, so they can't make it. Highlanders can actually still make it, even though they're in last. They first of all obviously need to look. Stranger things have happened, but they basically need bonus point wins over the Crusaders and the Chiefs. They also need Moana Pacifica to lose both their games. And then lastly, they need the Force to beat the Waratahs, and then the Waratahs to beat the Blues. Basically.
Yeah.
To have any hope. So they need all of that to happen for them to get into 6th, if they're lucky.
But see, that's what I mean. They've been shit all year. If
they're not going to do it. I mean, quote me on this now, any folks in Dunedin who are like, fuck you, but they're not going to do it.
Yeah, those Dunedin folk who listen to our podcast.
Yeah. The Waratahs, they basically need to defeat both the Force and the Blues. They need to win all their games and at least manage one of them with a bonus point, which will get them to 31 points. But they need to keep their eyes on the results of the Reds, the Canes, and Moana Pacifica. The ideal scenario for the Tars is that they need the Reds to defeat the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes pick up no losing bonus points. the Chiefs to then defeat Moana Pacifica.
Mm.
And then following this, if they then beat the Blues in Auckland, they'll be hoping Moana Pacifica can defeat the Hurricanes in Wellington without the Canes picking up a losing bonus point. Basically, that means is that the Hurricanes are currently on 30 points. If the Hurricanes lose their next 2 games and not pick up a single bonus point, and the Waratahs pick up 1 winning bonus point in addition to their 2 wins, there'll be 1 competition point ahead, basically.
Okay.
And then Moana Pacifica would take up the last final spot, so they'd finish in 6th as well. Does that make sense? This is the complicated part of the pod. Do you want me to keep just going down team by team? Because that's literally how we're going right now.
Hang on. Just give me a second. So, Blues right.
It's so funny. Like I was kind of showing this to a few folks, and it's like this hurts my brain just calculating all of this shit. I'm like, this is the time of year that we're in. Finals permutations, they're fun.
Yeah, they are fun.
The many
like
permutations.
They're the fanfic of sports.
They are. Finals permutations are the fanfic of sports. Officially confirmed here by Hartman.
Yeah. All right. Okay. This is what I've got. So this weekend, right? Chiefs, Crusaders, Highlanders. Crusaders will win that one.
Yes.
Reds, Hurricanes. I'm saying Reds will win it.
Yes.
Chiefs, Moana.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs win it, and Force Waratahs Force will win it.
Yes.
So after this round, that would mean, given those results, not much would change. Chiefs and Crusaders would go top.
They would go top. Highlanders would be out of finals contention. Waratahs would be out of finals contention.
Let's not care about the Highlanders. They're not going to win because they're fucking shit.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that those teams will be out of finals contention.
Yeah,
so
I'm talking top. I'm talking top here because what I want to find out is who the Reds are going to play. So Highlanders, Chiefs win. Brumbies, this is around next week, the week after. Sorry, Brumbies Crusaders. Let's say Brumbies win. Blues.
They play the Crusaders.
Sorry, Brumbies Crusaders. Let's say Brumbies would win that one. Blues Waratahs. Let's say Blues would win. Hurricanes Moana, Hurricanes, and Reds Fiji, Reds. So what I'm looking at is Reds would be 4th in that scenario, and be playing the Crusaders.
Either the Brumbies or the Crusaders. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say they Hurricanes win, so that'd be 34, 32, and then Hurricanes would win that one again, so 38, and then 36. So in the case that they lose against the Hurricanes, but then beat Fiji, which they will, that would be Reds versus Brumbies.
Yes, it would be. If the Brumbies lose against the Crusaders, it would likely be Reds versus Brumbies as well if the Reds finish in 4th.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we're kind of locking on, and also I'm saying Blues. Because Hurricanes will beat Moana and Moana will lose to Chiefs, but the Blues will beat the Waratahs. So I'm seeing the Blues going in to top 6.
Yeah. The equation for them is that they're basically hoping that the Hurricanes can shut down Moana Pacifica. That's basically what they're hoping.
Yeah.
And if the Chiefs and the Hurricanes can stop Moana Pacifica and the Blues beat the Tars, they're in effectively.
Yeah.
And they'll finish in. They can potentially finish as high as 5th. But I reckon they'll likely come in 6th if the Canes pick up a win in that weekend, which in those next 2 weeks, which I think they will.
I see. Yeah.
Canes and Reds is basically a toss-up, in my opinion, for who can finish in 4th. Both can actually still miss out technically based on other results, so that shouldn't be taken into into consideration. But funnily enough, do you want to know something funny? You know how we said we think that the Reds should be a top 2 team? The Reds can potentially finish as high as 2nd.
Oh yeah, nice.
So
I get that, because if they win their 2 games,
both with 2 bonus point wins, and the Crusaders lose their games, or the Chiefs for that matter, their absolute maximum is 42 competition points, which is 1 point above where the Crusaders and the Chiefs are now.
Chiefs and Crusaders are both playing the Hurricanes. So that's not going to happen. Well, one has got a really tough run home against Hurricanes and Chiefs. So
They do.
if they beat the Chiefs and Hurricanes, they're a good finals threat.
Mm. Yes, they are.
Because
They're a very good
are
finals
the
threat.
bee's knees. Yeah.
Here's the man who said, "Don't talk about Kiwi sides."
That's all I've got to say. But yeah, I mean, this is good. I can't remember really the last time that it was so. I mean, you got the top 3 that can change, and then the rest. Like, it's pretty good. Like, every place is up for grabs.
And here was the man. Here was the man who said, like, when we started talking finals permutations, you said that you thought that the finals situation was dog shit, and then like you were like, "Oh, it's fucking shit. It's 6 teams playing," and now we're like, "Look how freaking good it is when we break the numbers down."
No. I said the weird system is dog shit. I didn't say top 6 getting in is dog shit. I thought it would be the first 2 teams who come first and second, get a bye, go straight to the semi-final, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 battle it out to go play in the semi-final. That's how I thought it would work. Like normal. Fancy losing a game and then getting into the semi-final.
It is strange, but hey, I reckon it'll work. I reckon it's going to be a really fun finals campaign, particularly as well because the Reds and Brumbies, when they're on form, are playing really, really good rugby. I reckon they're playing like really good rugby.
Yeah.
I reckon let's finish. Let's talk Force. I reckon let's kind of wrap up with them because I mean obviously they're the last side and the only Aussie team right now.
Go, man. I'm disappointed.
Yeah,
they played some really good stuff over the year. They kind of got stitched up at the end with the travel schedule. I mean, they're playing at home this weekend after they've just flown to Fiji. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so they're playing at 4. So they did 2 games in New Zealand, came back to play the Brumbies, then flew off to Fiji again, and they're coming back home. It's just a bit shit, isn't it?
Apparently, they've done 46,000 kilometers on this.
I mean, look, they're on the other side of the fucking continent. They're always going to rack up the most air miles.
Yeah, but like having it more of a couple of stints at home, I kind of get their point. They only got that once this year, which was kind of on either side of the bye in like rounds 9 and 10. Like I get that. I can get that.
I mean, it should be if they play in Queensland, then they should play Fiji the next week.
Yeah, like they go and play. They like make it a tour and then go play in Fiji. They kind of make and then have like 2 or 3 weeks at home, so they can break up the travel a little bit more. But I mean, like
because like Moana played them and then played the Brumbies, I think. No, the Reds, and then went home.
Yeah,
in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Look,
so they did a tour.
Regardless, it's basically all gone downhill for the Force after that draw against the Hurricanes in round 10.
Yeah,
they were they were in finals. Let's not mince words here. They were in finals contention for 2/3 of the season. Like they were in the top 6 for 2/3 of the season,
and playing like they could be,
and I agree.
Off the table.
Yeah, your point that like you think the Force are a better side than the Tars, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I think they're on top of that. They're playing with. I mean, Williamson says they got dogs in them, and I completely agree. They do have dogs in them. And there's also an idea of kind of real. There's a kind of a real feeling of belief and system in process here that kind of hasn't been present in previous Force squads that I really really like. But. Yeah, I mean, God, that game against the Chiefs in Bay of Plenty, God, that result threw them off because, like, those 2 games in New Zealand, they didn't play very well, and then like you hope that they'd get some momentum back, and they didn't play well against the Brumbies. Like they, in their defense, like I think they did 311 tackles in that game. They just didn't get any ball at all against the Brumbies. Like they played their guts out, but just for no result.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not going to mince words. That Drua game was terrible. They didn't play very well. Maybe they were exhausted from the week before, but like, I'll tell you what I do think is shit. Like,
what do you think,
Alex? Like this, no disrespect to Alex Harford. Like they brought in this kid from the NPC, Alex Harford, to play at fly half. Like that basically suggests to me that they think the season's over. Like, but taking him, I mean, no doubt he actually played okay considering what was in front of him. But like, you send him off to debut for the Western Force in Fiji, that is like throwing him in the deep end, big time. And like, are you trying to get a win here, or is the season done and dusted? And then this weekend, like, I was talking with a couple of folks on Twitter. About like they've got this young guy who's debuting for them off the as the starting prop, because I mean there's so many props out right now for the Force. And part of me was just thinking to myself, when was the last time that Amoni or Isaac Kalia actually got a game of Super Rugby?
Kalia a couple of weeks ago. Off the top of my head.
But like Amoni,
I mean,
like literally, he won the game for the Tars against the Highlanders. We did had a loan system, with Pony Farmasili only last year. Like, why not give them some more game time instead of pulling from the NPC? Like, send one of those boys if they're keen, of course. Obviously, they've got to be determined about it. But like, send one of those boys over to WA. Instead of getting them to have to pull from the NPC.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
it's an
props issue isn't an issue in the props issue isn't an issue at the Tars.
Are you lining me up, Nick? Are you lining me up? Because I mentioned I had something in the barrel for this. You're lining me up. Thank you so much.
You see what I did there?
So what we're talking about, of course, is Angus Bell going overseas to Ulster. Now,
yes, true that.
Look. It's been reported, and this goes back to my kind of rant about finals. You know, it's a blow to the Waratahs' hopes, blah, blah, blah. And it is. He's a fucking good prop, and he's a fucking great player. But, as you were mentioning, Nick, and as I've mentioned before, is Super Rugby for winning, or is it for development? Because if it's for development, him going over to Ulster is great. It means an Irish lad ain't playing, and it means one of these guys, Amoni, Kalea, gets more game time. So I think it's great. And you shouldn't be relying on one of your props to carry your team. You know what I mean?
Yep, I get you.
So on this, like that's, and I just, it really annoys me because still it's not clear what Super Rugby is. It's really not clear. Is it a actual club kind of comp, or is it, it's just hitouts before the internationals? So to your point about the loan system, like, yeah, I agree. They should go, these, 20 props are in the system. And then as soon as we can see, go loan and go play for the Force, do it. I think you're better off playing for the Force and playing for Eastern Suburbs than the Shoot Shield.
Yes,
for example.
Agreed. Yeah. Look, I mean,
sure. Look, I'd like to know the counter argument to that. Maybe Simon Cron's got a counter argument. Maybe he was offered, "Hey, do you want a Monet to cover?" And he went, "Nah, I'm all right." Maybe it's like, you're too deep. You go 3 deep, right? So you have your starter Angus Bell, reserve Kalea, and then you got your kind of third. You got your reserve. But maybe you go 3 deep, like you can't touch that shit. But like honestly, even if it is, and even if the case is, and I've said this for a while as well, you just put all the best guys in Shoot Shield because that's the best rugby comp in Australia, and then you go right when you get your chance, you play well, you get sent off in case of an emergency. So that way you have your pathway set up. I don't know why you don't do that. Like I've always thought, Sydney University back in the day, that they should have just considered that Waratahs beat.
I mean, they're basically a professional outfit at this rate, like with all the setup that they've got out there. In answer to the broader question here, whether the Super Rugby is like an actual club competition or just a pure development pathway, the big thing is, I reckon, like a good comparison is often like I reckon a club competition, if coming at this from another angle, is like, Premier League. That's a club competition.
Yeah.
That's because that's kind of seen as the pinnacle of the sport. And I think we can all argue, even though the rugby, the cricket, the FIFA World Cup is like a big deal in terms of international football and international, that kind of space. If you'd ask the question, where would the better quality football be played, you'd argue more consistently, you may disagree with this or not, that the Premier League, because it has the higher ranked, it has all the high quality players from all around the world all in one place, that they'd have the best players and the best quality of football. So it's not necessarily a development pathway. It's more of a club competition. Rugby, I think, is still in a situation where those international teams are the pinnacle of the sport. And so there's kind of an element where they're trying to straddle development and a club competition. But realistically, if international rugby is the pinnacle of it, then it's effectively a development for the.
Oh no, but like, just look at the French comp or the English comp, right? You can look at, I wouldn't say.
That's probably the one exception in rugby, though. It's like, can you think of another competition?
Yeah. No, I get your point. But I just think if you look at the French comp and the English comp, those are club comps. If you look at URC, that is more of a Super Rugby style comp in the sense that it's national union led, split into 4, and in Ireland's sake, Leinster is basically baby Ireland. But it's not clear what Super Rugby is in that sense. It's really not clear. Like, you look at URC, you go clear. But Super Rugby, like, it's not. And I think to its detriment as well. Because I look at those Kiwi teams, except for Moana, and I mean that genuinely. They're all cookie cutter. Adidas does their kit. Until recently, they had all the same sponsorships, and you're like, it's kind of like, Mortal Kombat, Scorpion and Ice Zero, whatever his name, Sub-Zero. Literally the same guy with different colors.
Like, I get your point.
What I mean? Like, I think that's just the big fucking thing that I have to do. And for me, it's because I really think it is a kind of club comp. And I really wish they would focus on that. Because I think people are smart enough, right? People are smart enough to distinguish between the clubs and the Wallabies. But they really need to do the club part. Because they're not clubs, they represent states. But they just need to dig into that a bit more. And really kind of, and be a bit more transparent about it.
Yeah. I mean, I get your point. I reckon, though, that at the end of the day, you want to have just an entertaining competition, regardless of whether it is, a development pathway or a club in its own right.
I kind of disagree with that too, but go on.
Do you think that the quality, like, though, my question is off the back of this is like if because the Kiwis have had such a dominance of Super Rugby Pacific over the last decade, these questions are probably more pertinent. If say the Brumbies had a title in there, the Reds had a title in there, I think it would be a bit of a different conversation.
Yeah.
That plays into the factor of that. I think it's changing a bit more, and those clubs are getting a bit more of an identity because there's a bit more success happening. I mean, every single Australian side has seen a big increase in crowd attendance this year, and I know that there's been an increase in the attendance, like the folks watching on free to air. So people are starting to see those clubs, as clubs, as a product worth watching. Maybe that also plays a factor in that as well.
Well, I think, if we talk about Australian teams, I think Western Force have always had a completely different identity to the rest of the teams. Maybe, Reds and New South Wales fairly similar. Brumbies a bit different as well because they always like the outcasts, so to speak. The people weren't picked by Queensland and Sydney. Being competitive does make a huge difference. But I really think at the end of the day too, it's that connection to the land and the underlying culture is the most important thing. Like, because competitiveness is, people talk about sports as a product is fucking, I find that fucking bullshit. Yes, there are things to learn from that, but I really think sports are just a reflection of the ongoing culture beneath it. And you've really got to tap in and dig in. Now, look, I was in Surrey Hills on the weekend. If you don't know Surrey Hills, it's the nightlife district near the football stadiums in Sydney. And all the Swans fans came back. And, man, I was disgusted. I felt sick to the stomach. Because these people who follow any trendy fucking bullshit, look, you don't know anything. Look at you, I've seen them. You wouldn't know what like carrying the ball means if it's hitting you in the face. And I just, that's a big element of Sydney, that kind of attitude. I'll follow whatever's trendy. But they've really got to kind of dig into the cultures, and they just haven't. And if you dig into the cultures, you got people for life. You go to Melbourne, dug in deep, that's subterranean, the culture there. It falls off the walls, people will follow Carlton or St Kilda, and they've been shit for years. It's got nothing to do with competitiveness. It helps, but it's that deep culture that keeps things healthy. And that's what they've got to work on.
I reckon though rugby, and this might be a good ending point of it. I think rugby's in a better position to do that because the key audience that rugby has is people who've either played the game or know people who've played the game. Like it's passed down through family and stuff like that. Yeah. So I reckon there's a bit more of an element to that. I would argue in terms of being invested in the club and the culture. I mean, people often said that the Force were a club that that brought in people and everything like that. Simon Cron made a really, really good point that's just Perth. Like Perth is literally just an expat city. It's filled with people from all over the world. That's just how they are. And it kind of almost makes sense that their rugby club is a bit of a reflection of that. And they've kind of decided under Cronny to embrace it a little bit. That's obviously just the Force example, but you kind of get what I mean. And I reckon that rugby is in a better position to kind of lean and latch onto that club identity. And I think we're kind of starting to see that in those Australian sides that are being a bit more successful based on the numbers of improvement, based on everything like that. And also based on how rugby fans are compared to league fans. Or league fan, or like not say league fans per se, more casual fans of a casual sport, like more casual fans of a sport. You might never have played league, but you can follow a league team. You might never have played AFL, but you can follow an AFL team or whatever. So I reckon that's the line where it could potentially be. But look, I feel like it's a big, massive, broad topic, and I feel like it was such a funny deviation off the back of us talking about the Western Force as a final, as how they're going.
Yeah, good on them.
But I reckon they'll be pretty disappointed with this year. But I mean, they've announced that they're re-signing Carlo Tizzano. I think they've probably got a couple, like Nick Dolly's
re-signing.
Have you
been following his YouTube channel?
Well, Carlo Tizzano, yeah, isn't it good?
Yeah,
he's so good. I love Carlo Tizzano. I think he's fine.
It's actually funny. I did want to bring this up, but now I found the perfect segue. I've always wanted more of that, get to know someone, down to earth kind of content coming from, not content, I'm not going to call it content actually, coming from Rugby Australia. And his stuff's great. And he's just gone off. I think he was like, I've just bought a camera, so I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And isn't it funny? It's so funny. And then if the people listening haven't seen it, do not know, you should seek it out. It is hilarious. It is absolute mungo shit. But not Carlo Tizzano. I changed. Sorry. It's fucking Reece Walsh punching his mate.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
So he punched his mate as a joke, right, with a boxing glove. And his mate knew it. It was just like, a run it challenge. But he's just punching him with a boxing glove. And Reece Walsh posted it to his TikTok. And it's like, Two things, Nick. I do not understand what goes in the head of a woman, and I do not know what goes in the head of a fucking rugby league player. What the fuck was he thinking?
He was probably drunk when he posted it, to be honest. That's what I reckon. He's made an impulsive decision.
How dumb do you have to be? Just do it. Like, NRL was probably like, we couldn't give a shit if you did that. Honestly.
Yeah, but
NRL,
any publicity is good publicity. NRL, any publicity is good publicity. They'll lean into the negative stories as well, as long as there's publicity.
Well, you know that Sonny Bill Williams is fighting Paul Gallen, and Paul Gallen didn't show up. I'm like, that's a stunt.
It's so true. It's so true. Before we finish up, I reckon let's quickly touch on the Wallaroos, if I can. Have you checked out any of the Wallaroos games? Have you kind of kept an eye on it?
No. Sorry, I was busy. I was going to check it out because it was. I love it. They were playing America in Canberra.
Bloody good game. It was an excellent night. I had a great night. I was down there, and I'm not going to lie. Apparently, it was nearly 11,500 folks turned up, and I reckon a sizable chunk were there for Alona Ma. Because a lot of the crowd came for both games. So I reckon it was a banger of a night, to be 100% honest. It was really, really fun.
So good.
They're really coming along.
For the Wallaroos.
Yeah, which was good. It was a really good try. I actually reckon
this playing on the wing.
Well, I mean, they're moving. I reckon it's just. So I asked Jo Yap about it, and she was like, "It's because she hasn't had enough time in the 15s game. This weekend she's playing in the centers. They can see
fullback.
Yeah, well, it's because Caitlin Halls, the young Waratah fullback, she's fucking killing it right now. She's playing so well. And on the weekend, there was something I really noticed about Caitlin was that her kicking game is really good. Like, she can boot it. Like, there was a video I actually found out. I found recently. She plays for the Tars. And
she plays for the men's. If she can kick the ball well and kick it out.
She did a 22 to 22. You know, like there's 50s 22s. She did a 22 to a 22.
Hot.
It was a fire kick. I was like, Jesus, that was like a cannon on the end of it. But she's just playing really, really well. And like, I reckon the Wallaroos are wisely going, don't mess with the special sauce, because she's clearly playing really, really well. So they're going to try Charlotte a little bit more in the centres in terms of actually distribution of stuff, which I actually think is not a bad idea, considering where she plays in sevens and stuff like that, and kind of knowing space and everything like that. I reckon it'll be. They're playing Canada this weekend. They had a better game against the Black Ferns, which was really positive. Even though they went down like 38-12, they were like, that second half, they was so much more competitive. It was like much more even Stevens compared to previous years.
Yeah, and I reckon I'm going to get into it. I'll give it a watch. And look, the funny thing is, I feel bad. I have to explain myself. I just don't have enough time to watch another team, or to care for another team.
You should, man. You should. They're good. They're really, really,
losing
really
to Canada,
good.
you know what I mean? Like, fuck, I already see the world.
Canada are ranked number 2 in the world, dude.
Canada, I know, but their men's team
good side.
Sucks.
Sucks ass. Mate, don't talk like men suck in general. Like, just go for the. I reckon.
Hard disagree.
I reckon go for. Honestly, it will be seriously worth your time. I reckon it'll be a really good game this weekend. Where
are they playing? What time? Tell us.
Brisbane, Friday night.
I saw, because the Reds are doing they sent out letters on their social media, dear boss,
it's a double header.
I fell sick at approximately 4 p.m. today. If you see me at Suncorp Stadium, you did not.
It's a joint double header. They're playing. So the Wallaroos will be up against Canada. I reckon they're a genuine shot. The real thing it's impressed me so much. They're kind of trying to focus on growth, and the real thing that has impressed me this year so far is that you'd watch previous Wallaroo games, and it was just clear that their physicality just wasn't at the same level as another team. The Kiwis would break off tackles and were clearly the physically stronger side. This year, the Wallaroos have really stepped up in terms of being able to beat the shit out of people. It's they're actually Yeah, they're beating the snot out of people. So it's like the actual physicality is there, which is what you want. It's the key thing they need to improve on, and they really have. So
Yeah.
I reckon they're a shot. I actually reckon they'll make it a good game of it against Canada.
Another topic I want to bring up with you is World Rugby have approved the 20-minute red card.
Yes.
I think it's awesome.
I agree.
I think, look, I get people, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. Right, and I could get into my deep philosophy about sporty. Not deep, but surface level. But you got to let sport be sport, you know? And a red card's a red card. But I think I really welcome this. I think it bridges that gap of clearly rugby have been concerned, mainly because, you know, if you're a lawyer, you probably follow rugby union more. Been really concerned about the whole concussion thing and been trying to combat that with all the, you know, you can't hit anyone, blah, blah, blah. You look at rugby league. And I'm not sure if you saw that video this week that came out from Country Rugby League of it was a kick chase. Someone bombed, you know, kicked a bomb, and this guy was chasing the guy picking it up, but he hit him late and probably hit his lower legs. And so the chaser of the kick hit the defender who was trying to catch the ball. He jumped up to catch it, and this guy hit his legs as he tried to tackle him or avoid him or something. And this guy, like a cartoon, did a full 180 flip and landed on his head. I don't know if you've seen that. I haven't. Wild.
I haven't seen it.
Oh man, I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. But I think, 20-minute red card.
It's because
I think it's really good and really welcome.
Yeah, you got to straddle the balance of like particularly if you're like from a spectacle standpoint, if you know you get a red card in the first 5 minutes or whatever. I mean, fucking hell, if you're an idiot player who does that, like God help you. But
also, actually, to that point, a lot of refs don't want to make those big calls.
There's I reckon the whole on report thing, the yellow card then going up on report is encouraging them a little bit more. And I think
even if sometimes refs don't want to do it.
Yes.
Even now, you know, they go, oh, report yellow, whatever, it might be upgraded to red. And you're like, it's clear red.
Yes.
And then inevitably it's red. But yes.
Yeah. But I reckon they're trying to straddle that line of like the 20 minutes, it's a quarter of the match. You're without a player.
Yeah.
And that player can't come back on. I think that covers it pretty well. And then I reckon that covers it a little bit well because it means that like the team isn't hampered so much that effectively, like, you know, the game's written off before it's even over. You know, that you see those results like after the whole situation with, you know, like Marika Corambetti getting sent off against France and the Wallabies rallied to still win that game with a man down. That's more the exception than the rule. Seeing a result like that, I mean, it was freaking awesome, but like it's more the exception than the rule. And so to do that, you have to like I can kind of see what they're trying to do there from an engagement perspective, and also trying to make sure that the player safety element and the whole reason to deter them from being fucking dangerous and stupid is clear there. I reckon it works. I think it has been working enough, and I reckon it's, you know, they're trying to change behavior, and you're going to have a lot of cards as part of that. I reckon it's a good idea. Though I don't know about the call about the American player.
Oh yeah, wow.
Oh, that was fucking shocking. Like, good decision on the kind of the card system. 3 weeks for stomping on G. Fred's head is absolutely ridiculous.
It's been wild. I can't remember the last time I saw someone get stomped.
And not only that, like she clearly had a rush of blood to the head because she then tried to kick on with Palu straight afterwards. Like she literally was like pushing and shoving players around, and then all of a sudden, because she clearly lost her cool, you were clearly trying to injure the player. That's what you were freaking doing. So
yeah,
like, I mean,
3 weeks is something, right?
Well, the Wallaroo players this afternoon, they didn't mince words. They thought it was a pretty shocking decision, and I must admit I agree. It's like you don't stomp on players if you do that club level, that's the season for you. You're done. That's 12 or 15, that's 14 weeks.
Yeah.
So
You know what I've always found funny is if you look at I found like a list of like what you can get suspended for and the weeks coming with it. And the biggest ones are always spitting.
Really?
Yeah. Like spitting at a ref was like a lifetime. Spitting another player was like a year. Like that was your season done. And I'm like, spitting? Really?
Well, I mean, like, the alternative is punch the ref, which we don't want. So, like, that's the other option you can fall on. But
I mean, punching the ref was lifetime, but punching another player is like, 5 weeks or whatever.
God, jeez. Yeah, it's a weird one. I reckon that does us. I reckon that covers us pretty well.
Yeah, big pod baby.
Big pod baby, we're back. We'll probably be back next week. We'll probably do a final week of wrap up. If you can, go check out our collab episode we did with the Egg Chasers and with Talking Teams, where we talk about the Lions squad. Soon we'll have a Wallaby squad to talk about as well, which should be exciting. And as kind of mentioned in that pod, we've got a couple of cool little episodes, instant reactions coming up. So it's going to be a very busy Lions tour. So cheers, Hartman. Cheers, co-founder.
Thanks, mate.
And to all of our listeners, thank you very much. We'll catch you the next time round.
Is it too late to add my rant about Marky Mark now?
We can add it at the end.
Let's keep it recorded. Maybe you want to chuck it in.
I'll do the outro music and you can chuck it in at the end.
Yeah, you're gonna. So Marky Mark, you seen his try?
I have.
Yeah, good try.
Very good try.
I think the great try, right? You see the guy who tries to tackle him, the second guy doesn't even lay a hand on him. Like this. Oh, sorry. He's a winger. We should not be throwing money at a winger.
Yeah, anyone who says that, like,
all this chat about RA letting him go, like Jorgo's better than him. I mean, Jorgo scored that try twice. One was disallowed this season. He scored the try against, I think, Fiji, like that. And he scored a try against that Western Force. Kicked over the top, chased it. Like, Jorgo's better. And Kellaway's is good.
Yeah.
And he's not a big loss. And frankly, I think he's stupid that he went to NRL. He should have gone to Japan or France. Earn the same amount of money overseas, and I could always come back to the Wallabies, just like Matt Phillips and Pete Samu.
I'm not too fussed about it. Look, I think it's a good try, and at the end of the day, I want Marky Mark to do well. I do agree with you that I don't think it's a huge loss, and people going like, RA needs to get on the phone to Marky Mark. At the end of the day, first of all, it's the player's choice. It's up to them. And then second of all, I also think that, if there's one thing that Australian rugby has, it is an abundance of back three players. Like,
that and back row.
That and back row. We need, unless Marky Mark get in the centres, get in the fly half, then we'll talk. At least I can also say,
can you play hooker?
Oh, no, we're okay for hookers. We're doing all right for hookers.
Are we?
I reckon
fly half.
Fly half. I mean, fly half, centres, then we'll talk. I reckon we're getting better with props. I reckon we're getting better with hookers. That's the only other place where I reckon
if Swiley's the centre, you got Swiley and Ikitau.
Yeah.
And you got Paisami hanging around.
Yes.
Actually,
and Karevi.
Fuck. And who?
Karevi, if they bring him in.
Man, he's too old.
What do you mean? He's not too old.
No, he looked off the pace last time he played for the Wobbs.
No way is he old. He's like only 30, 31 or something, isn't he? He's 31.
Yeah, how old? Yeah. Old.
He's younger than me.
How old Foley?
God, Bernard Foley.
35.
Oh, yeah, he's. Here's Mike. Actually, yeah. Anyway, going back to your point about freaking Marky Mark, like I reckon you're right that rugby shouldn't necessarily get on the phone with him. If he wants to come back, that's awesome. I reckon all the best to him. It's good that he's playing really, really well. And I think, again, it really highlights that the skills that you can learn in rugby union can really allow you to exceed in rugby league. And that isn't necessarily the case when you go back the other way. Although,
Well, I think it's certainly the case
Suolihi is proving an excellent point.
No, I think it's certainly the case for wingers.
Oh, well, Suolihi in the centres, he played brilliantly against England.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, it's centers or wing. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Fullback, maybe fullback, but I mean, yeah, that's it. But wingers, like you need barely any education. Like, you're not going to join a ruck.
There's no rucks in league.
Fullback, I think you need to have a better boot. Like, you have to really be better at tactical kicking. I mean, you look at Folau, like, he was a great fullback, but couldn't kick. But you need to kick in rugby. Centre, I think the defensive organisation is completely different. Like, and centre and league as well. Like, if you come from league, you need to be better at like your tactical game. Yeah.
Who knows? I reckon it does.
You can get Cleary over a completely different game, fly half.
Yeah. It depends on. I think it depends on the individual. But what it does show to me is that, you know, if Union actually does suddenly start to, you know, win a lot more games and people start to get a bit more into it, I reckon it would lead to a lot more cross pollination between the two codes, specifically league and Union. And I actually do think that could play into Australian rugby's international hands going forward, because the game is naturally getting faster and pushing towards that. And I think league kind of has some elements to it that actually could be quite beneficial in that regard. But that might be a pod for another time.
Yeah,
because we've been going for nearly an hour and a half.
Yeah. Over. Hey, Les, guess you played both.
There's a reason why we're getting a league coach.
Yeah, that's all we ask him about.